And good morning, golfing world. Welcome to Monday Morning Golf Wrap with Hugh Roy III and George Honeycutt. We're so happy to have you, and we're happy to have a special guest with us today, Mr. Jeff Pianelli, Director of Golf out at River's Edge.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Jeffro.
Morning,
how are
sir.
you?
I can't complain. It's been a good week.
Well, with those pictures you posted, you doggone right it was a good week.
Oh, man, I've been trying to cut back on the ice cream and switch to the Wheaties.
Is that like a new JB Crew catalog type? What's going on there, dude?
I gotta be honest with you. It's a family, it's kind of an inside family joke. My brother and I would, before photobombing was a term, we would do that at family functions and things. We'd do the J Crew point and stare, and I was always the stare guy, and he was the point guy. So,
Do you see what I'm referring to?
No.
Oh, I'll show you later.
Some call it the thinker.
And I say JB because Jimmy Biggs.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So it's Jimmy Biggs and Crew.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Got it?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
you talking
He
about
could be
the
the front man.
pictures
He'd
with
be-
the
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
Sporting the Nike green?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jimmy looking like he's Captain Morgan. I
Oh,
got you.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a few things to say about that when I first saw him, and we can't say them on air now.
I know.
So
You have to behave, George.
it used to be I could say them on air, but
I'm
I
not
can't
getting in
say them
trouble.
on air now. So, Jeff, appreciate you joining us today. You had the Saturday scramble, the Easter egg scramble out at River's Edge. You had 140 plus players, 34 teams, and what a fun day everybody had.
I would say I think Team Honeycutt had the most fun. If
Well,
I remember correctly.
yeah,
Dude, I tried to tell you, quit giving him a pencil with an eraser. You're not going to outrun him.
I get pretty quick with a pencil and eraser,
I
don't
understand.
They actually set the new tournament record.
Yeah, we did.
Lowest score, 57.
Yeah, 15 under, and we left a couple of them out there, as I told you, Jeff. I'm proud to say we left a couple of them out there, and if it wasn't for our teammate Jeff Shoemate, who is with WMBF, I didn't have to putt the last 8 holes. I never touched a putter.
It makes golf a lot easier.
Doesn't it, though?
That's what scramble golf's all about. When that first putter can go up there, first person can make it. Ooh.
Now, when it was out in the fairway or out the tee box, Jeff wasn't even getting out of the cart. Does that tell you anything?
Perfect team right there.
I was going to say exactly. He could sit there and chill and relax, let you do all the hard work, and he'd go up and make the putt.
Mark, his
bring
brother.
it close.
Yeah, Mark, his brother, who this was the second time he's played in a year, and so he was having a rough ball striking day. Let's say that, but he would putt first, and then get a relative line down, and then Jeff would just step up, bam, he'd bang it. I mean, he made 8, 9 one putts.
That's
Wow.
impressive. That is impressive.
So that was the only reason why we shot what we shot.
Actually makes it a scary thought when you do have to putt, something like that.
Oh, I was nervous. I dropped the putter twice the first time I had to putt. So,
But well done. That was impressive. That was our lowest score prior was 59. So
well,
the Godfather raised the bar for the event.
well, good. I expect to see our names up on a plaque in marble or something up on the wall there at River's Edge. So
It's in the mail.
it's in the mail. I don't want it mailed to me. Post it in the clubhouse there.
Yeah, no, they said they were going to mail it for us.
Got it. Jeff, got to compliment you on a couple of things. One, the golf course.
Yes, thank you.
In great shape, phenomenal. It's amazing how you've turned that place around. And I just, hats off to you, the crew, the greenskeeping crew, the members, your board. Just hats off to everybody. It's in great shape. Great shape.
Listening to George this morning, Jeff, and then, after the golf directors last week talking to Garrett Fonville and some other guys that played up there, they said, man, the golf course is the best they'd seen it. And, that's nice to hear. And obviously, like George just said, hats off to you because that's one of my favorite golf courses. So I'm glad that things are really turning around in the positive direction y'all tried to go.
Exactly.
Thank you. We've we moved the monies around the best we can for Stephen. Stephen Martin's the superintendent here, and he really takes it to a golfer's view, and it's starting to show its worth now more than ever. So we look forward to the summer, just kind of staying right where we're at and trying never to look back. So I appreciate the compliments.
Well, my second I'd like to recognize to you, Jeff, is the event itself and the way you executed it, your hospitality, the way everything was organized. That you can always tell a good event, Hugh. If you got 140 players, normally after the event you got 20 that kind of hang around. And everybody else knows that they're not in the prizes, they're not in this. However, when you participate in one of these events out at River's Edge, everybody's in the prizes because they give away a buku of stuff.
Yeah.
And they've got the 50-50, they've got the flat screen television, giveaway. But that place was packed. I couldn't find a place to sit down and eat. I had to sit over by Jeff and and monitor his scorekeeping.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
View right at the scoreboard, which unfortunately was to my back. But
don't
I
you
appreciate you covering me.
Yeah, don't you you hear what he's saying, don't you? That's just him making an excuse
I don't think I could say that on the air either.
Yeah, he's
Well,
no, it was a good time. The weather held out. I know we had earlier in the week
a lot of rain.
They started around that 80%, and it just kept dropping and dropping. And then I know we had a little bit of a dusting, which had us all grasping our breath, but the Godfather did call it that morning. He said, if anything happens, it may spit a little, but we're not going to get rained on, and we didn't. So I think, George, if you want, you can come up here 7 days a week.
Oh, I'm the official weatherman now for River's Edge. How about that, folks?
Oh, man.
Okay, need to find out what the weather is at River's Edge. Just contact George here at the Godfather at the TGD. That's not a problem. But no, it went smoothly, effortlessly. I was a little surprised, and make sure Sebastian hears this. I was a little surprised to see Sebastian out in the parking lot getting into a cart.
Yeah, his father. That was kind of their first opportunity. His father unfortunately had an accident and was laid up for a while, and we just had an extra spot. It was the night before, and it just kind of gave them an opportunity to get on the golf course. Now, I did tell him before he left to go on the golf course. Now, if you guys are cruising along here, I need you to dump some putts or hit a couple balls in the water because we can't have you turn around and win this thing. And he was honest. He said they didn't, and they just straight up got beat. So, again, we thank the Godfather for not getting me put up on a stake when the
so I was your saving grace.
But you went international too, so it was awesome.
Yeah, I did go international. I had Andrei Pavlov with us, and what are you doing that look? Jeff, are you watching us on TV?
Jeff,
look at Hugh's face.
Quit making his head any bigger than it already is. I mean, he brought a guy that hits at 400 yards. He hits at 400 yards, and then he's got two guys. Okay, well, they're bad ball striking, but so-and-so made the putts, but he's got a guy that can.
Let me say this. River's Edge is one of those golf courses where, okay, great, you can hit it 400 yards, but that don't do you a lot of good.
In certain spots, I agree with you.
That doesn't do you a lot of good in several spots.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably 4 holes that you can really take advantage of it. But for the most part, you're right. You've actually got to throttle back if you can hit it. For most of the front 9 at least, and then there's probably 3 holes on the back that distance just brings in more and more trouble.
Well, when the wind picked up, especially on 7, 8, and 9, the wind was dead into us on those 3 holes, and I had told the team, I said, look, if we make it through here with 3 pars, we're okay.
Now, were those the 3 you parred?
No. Actually, we birdied 2 of them. So
should have saw that coming.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for setting that one up, Jeff.
I tried to warn you.
On purpose.
I tried to warn you.
Now, when's your next one, Jeff? When's the next scramble?
The next one we moved to May 30th. So we're going to try and do kind of the last hurrah of each month. I know for April or for March, we didn't. The timing didn't work out to get it in the last weekend. So we started, right before Easter, which was perfect. Most folks, weren't. May not have even thought of playing around that Easter time, but it worked out for us. And then, like I said, the next one's going to be May 30th. It's going to be our end of spring, I guess. We're going to try to think of some funny name for it.
Okay. Well,
I'll throw those to Sebastian. I've got to credit him for the Easter egg scramble because I was just going to call it April Scramble. So.
No, good stuff. Good stuff. Now, can we expect to see Sebastian playing on May 30th? Or
I don't know. We may have to put him on suspension for that one.
Okay. Well, I just want to know how much more I need to load my team before I come. So, Hugh, you busy that day?
That may not be.
I might play with you, George, if that's the case.
So May the 30th will be the next scramble at River's Edge. And again, if you're listening to us, going to be in the area, if you're local, which we have a lot of locals that view us and listen to us now, by all means sign up for this. I think the Godfather requested 4 teams for May 30th. So, and I'll probably end up putting 5 teams in it.
There you go.
Love it.
So, yeah.
Good.
So we ended up taking 20 there Saturday. So it was a lot of fun. By the way, I brought several guys that were members out at Barefoot. And they wanted to go along when they heard it was River's Edge. And then all of them said, we will automatically just sign us up for May 30th. They're in.
Good.
That's awesome.
They're
That's
locked
awesome
in.
to hear.
So good stuff, Jeff. Well,
Thank you.
why don't
Thank you very much.
Can you got time to continue to join us here while we talk a little pro golf?
I would love to, but unfortunately we've got a little member day here this morning, so I'm gonna have to skip out on you. Not that I want to, but
Okay,
I appreciate
brother.
being on.
All right, man. Thanks so much. And again, we'll see you out there on May the 30th at River's Edge. Looking
You
forward
got
to it.
You, thanks again.
You got it,
Jeff,
buddy.
You guys have a great day.
Take
All right,
care.
man. You too.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Jeff Pianelli, of course, director of golf at River's Edge Golf Club. And again, Hugh, he's done a marvelous job.
It's like
And the members love him. They
he's,
love him.
He's straight up, and you always see him. He's visible all the time, very, very cordial. And the time you and I've gone up there, and just to hear how that place has come around and what they've been able to do since the first time we went
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
I love the golf course, and then to hear that they're getting this thing into top first class shape is just nice to hear. So kudos.
Well,
to them.
even with all, and we'll continue on here, folks. But even with all the wetness we've had in the area over the last 10 days or so, and we had basically 2 balls that we used. It was a scramble, but you could tell your balls landing in the fairways. We had 2 balls with a little bit of mud on 2 of them, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
That tells you how dry the fairways were. It was not. It was 90 degree all day. So hats off to them, dude. It was a lot of fun. All right, let's talk a little pro golf. And exciting was the weekend that our first major of 215 happened for the ladies, the LPGA in Rancho Mirage.
And I tell you what,
It was a barn burner.
It was a nice finish. Absolutely.
I mean, Stacy Lewis starts 3 shots back, and she's in the last group. And lo and behold, you could just sense it in her walk that she was going to win this thing. And we talked off the air earlier. By hole 12, she had the lead.
Oh, she had it. I mean, it was hers. It was hers to lose, and she ended up making 2 bogeys coming in, and then Brittany Lincecum went and she eagled the 18th hole, the one you see, the Island Green. She makes 3. I mean,
To get in the playoff.
that's winning a golf tournament, though. I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
showing you if we're going to a playoff. Guess what I just did? I'm ready to go.
Yeah. So, and then her and Stacy end up in the 4-hole playoff, which really, if it hadn't have been decided by that 4th hole, then they would have had to spend the night and finish up today.
Yeah.
But it was just getting too dark. There's no doubt about it. But again, she hasn't won there. Well, she hasn't won a major since 2009. That was her last major win. She's already on the bridge. So, hats off to her. I mean, getting ready to get married. Her fiance was there.
Yeah.
And he is a long drive athlete, if
Okay.
that's how you want to title him. That's what he does for a living, is travel around and participate in the Remax long drive contest and things like that. And Dad was there, ended up taking off his shoes, but didn't take off his socks to jump in the pond. And so it was a lot of fun. But again, the playoff, really Stacy Lewis at times, already just this year, Hugh, there's been on 2 or 3 different occasions where just a snippet of bad luck has caused her not to pull something off, if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah, you can.
Like yesterday in the last playoff hole, which turned out to be the last playoff hole, she hits her second shot down to, she's laying up at about 110 to 115, and the ball ends up in an old divot.
Yeah.
And she hits a pitching wedge, a little chunky. It comes up short of the green. It could have easily rolled back down the front and gone in the water and really put the end to it. But it does come up short, leaves herself 50 feet away. She hits a poor 3rd, no doubt about it. Or excuse me, 4th shot, leaving herself a good 10, 11 feet for par. And then she ends up missing that because she's still outside of Brittany, who had hit a nice wedge in from 80 and had stuck it in there about 6 feet. And so all she had to do, and you could tell she was nervous.
Yeah.
I mean, that first putt of hers for the birdie on the last playoff hole, I'm sitting here going, oh, don't jack whip this thing and send it 8 feet down the hill. And you could tell she was thinking about that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But, I mean, you talk about Stacey hitting in the divot. I mean, that's just – it's bad luck, George, but I mean, it's rub of the green, and it's part of golf, and you have to deal with it constantly. And you're laying it. If you've got to, that's where when you're playing from practice rounds throughout the tournament, when you're you're looking at where everybody's laying up. Mm-hmm. I mean, because you've got to make decisions based off of that because of the damage. It's like say you lay it up on the practice tee where everybody's been hitting balls, you're going to wind up in a big thing of divots if you're not careful.
Right.
So, that's – put that on kind of her and her caddy for not trying to lay it up in a place that they think, there's not as much traffic.
Good point. Excellent point. Excellent point. And I kind of wondered why, because she hit a 7-iron for her second shot, and she had a lot of room. Again, she hit from about 115, which means that she had easily another 50, 60 yards to play with before she would even concern herself with overrunning the fairway and getting into the pond.
Yeah.
So, why she didn't hit a little bit more club down there and get a little bit closer, I don't know. Maybe she doesn't feel as comfortable with that, that shot, that 60-yard shot or whatever. A lot goes through their mind I'm not capable of thinking about.
Well, I mean, yeah, everybody has their own preferences. But, again, that's where, you have to pay attention to where you're laying it up because you're trying to lay it up in the best place possible. And obviously where she did, there's a lot of divots around there. I mean, you see balls come down there and they'd roll through them. Well, that one just happened not to.
Right.
But, you got to pay attention to that.
What'd you think of the play of young Miss Lydia Ko? 17, finishes +3.
Yeah, she had a rough go. I mean, I watched a little bit of it and saw her, a couple of times, coming up short. But I just think, with all the hype and everything that's been going on, just let her go home and relax, and we'll see. She'll be back.
There's no
just
doubt
gets
about
a point where it's the burnout factor too. I think she looked like she was tired of people kind of being around and watching and talking to her all the time. So gives her a chance now. Just go home, relax, and be a kid. And then
she's
back.
Just going to have to learn to live with that, though. As world number one, she's going to have to learn to live with the notoriety, the marquee. She's a billboard. She's a walking billboard.
Exactly. And I mean, it's no different.
At 17, I know that's hard to relate to, but she's just going to have to get used to it if she plans to continue to be number one in the world.
It's no different than the quote that came out from Rory McIlroy yesterday. Golf, he used to love to play golf. Golf's not as much fun anymore as it used to be.
Yeah, it's a job now.
Well, it's a job, yeah. I mean, the love of it when I was a kid, it's different. And, yeah, well, that's what happens.
Well, the ending score was at -9, Hugh. We saw the number go to as low as 12 at one point in time. Of course, at the start of the day, you had a player at -11. You had Stacey Lewis at -8. So we saw the real back nine there at Rancho Mirage. They kind of are referring to that second 9 there as almost like the back 9 or the second 9 at Augusta. And that's where the tournament's won and lost, is those 9 holes, really. And they're right. I mean, the first 9, you've got several scoring opportunities, no doubt about it. And then as you start coming down into those last several holes, the holes seem to get a little narrower.
They do.
The greens get a little firmer.
Yep. And the pressure's on.
Yep. And we saw even Carlotta Segata, she came out of nowhere. She was playing extremely well. Morgan Pressel actually made a move and had gotten to -8. And then, of course, Brittany and Stacy end up at -9. And Brittany ends up getting that way, as you mentioned earlier, with the eagle on 18 during regulation play. And that got her into the playoff. I mean, she was at -7.
I mean, you don't see that on that hole in this tournament. Very often.
Not where that pin position is on Sunday.
You just don't see it. And for her to do that, that's why I say even though she had to go to a playoff, it's like, you know what, I just made 3 on this hole. I'm good. Let's go.
Right.
Turn us loose.
Well, and she had finished several groups ahead of the leaders, and of course, she didn't know that 9 was going to be the number because realistically, at the time, 10 and 11 seemed to be those numbers that probably one of the 2 or 3 people coming in at the top were going to finish at.
Yeah.
And she was going to be 1, maybe 2 shots out, but without. So it just so happened. What happened? Stacey Lewis makes a couple of late bogeys on the second 9, and lo and behold, we've got a golf tournament. And so it just turned out it was good entertainment. I watched some good golf. Stacey Lewis had 3 distinct opportunities to put this thing away, and she didn't execute. And so whether that was because of missed putts, poor club selection, shot, maybe one shot, maybe one swing out of the norm. You could probably break it down and microscopically break it down to the point where you could pick out the 2 or 3 different things that she did that didn't win her the event. But again, she's playing awfully well. She's doing a lot of good things in her career right now. And so thusly, hey, she missed it in a playoff. She's still got a big check, and she'll move on.
Oh,
so
don't be surprised
don't
to
pass
see her
her.
there again.
Yeah, exactly. That's where
I
was
agree
going.
with you. I mean, watching her through the first 12, 13 holes yesterday, I mean, she every time they showed her on TV, she had made a birdie or had a good opportunity for birdie and looked solid.
Well, congratulations. Brittany Lincecum wins the first ANA Inspiration, the first major championship of the 2015 season. The 29-year-old, she's 29 years, 6 months, 17 days old. She turned professional in 2004. And again, this is going to help her significantly as far as her rankings. She earned 625 points for the race to the CME Globe. She moves from 20th to 4th position in the rankings. She'll jump literally up to probably 14 to 13 from number 18 in the Rolex Women's World Golf Ranking. So, big thing for Brittany. I mean,
Yes. Absolutely
she's had a couple of years. Everybody knew she was there, but nobody saw her there on the last day, and now she's back up into the limelight. So good for her.
Excellent golf.
So what'd you think of Houston, Hugh?
I tell you what, it was one of the more entertaining ones I've seen in a while.
Was it because Johnson Wagner was in it without the mustache?
Well, without the mustache, but J.B. Holmes going out and shooting 64 the last day. Johnson Wagner gets in the golf tournament strictly on a sponsor's exemption.
Right.
I mean, he wasn't in the golf tournament unless the tournament director actually was a friend of his and said, hey, we want to help you out. And, and then you got Jordan Spieth playing great the way he has all year. And then, comes down, he got it going late in his round to get himself up in there. Because when I first turned the television on early, yesterday morning, J.B. Holmes was like 7 under through his first 8 holes or something ridiculous. And I'm going, wow.
Right.
In the playoff and everything, it's unfortunate what happened with Jordan, but I tell you what, I thought it was very entertaining.
I did too. And again, hats off and congratulations to Johnson. The boy I love his approach. I love his pre-shot routine. He takes that. You think he's going to pass out at any moment from hyperventilation. So it's just and he's got that big kick. Right elbow out, back across, and then when you see him swing and hit the ball, it's nothing like his pre-shot routine. The swing is nothing like that.
No. Just swinging over and way left and finishing low and all that. But, I tell you, J.B. Holmes has been playing good, George.
Dude, and I was just going to ask you.
He's played good the last month.
He has. So has Jordan.
Yeah.
So has Jordan. Jordan just hasn't been able to close the screen door on the submarine.
Yeah.
After a while, it starts collecting enough water, it just stays underneath. And
he got unlucky yesterday with what happened in the bunker and all that.
But you could say that, but then again, too, he shouldn't have been there.
True enough.
He snaps the drive left. He ends up he got saved by the bank, by the wet bank. It had been raining most of the day. And so the heavy, wet, ground, the grass, saved his drive from going into the water with his first shot. And then he tries to hit this big snap rope 6-iron. But, getting in the bunker, having a camera go off or whatever went off or something distracted him at the top of his backswing. That those things happen. Tiger deals with it every time he swings. But I don't know. I just see it as Jordan, if he can just keep his focus there, he's going to be awfully tough to beat at Augusta.
I like I said, we both have picked him. I agree with you. I think he's playing fantastic.
But I think what JB showed and has shown for 3 weeks now, he's going to be awfully tough to beat at Augusta.
He's back to playing the game of golf. It was funny listening to Johnny Miller yesterday because he's like, you're sitting there. He hadn't hit but 6 fairways and da-da-da-da. But the 18th hole, he's hit it all 3 times. And you're going, that's the tightest hole in the golf course.
Right.
That's the hardest tee shot on the golf course. And the guy didn't miss it.
He played the hole 3 times yesterday, okay? He used, for his second shot, 4-iron, 5-iron, 6-iron.
Mm-hmm.
He said if we'd played it again, I'd probably gone in with a 9. He said I was just that pumped up.
Oh, yeah. And, the shot he hit, right there at the last time they played it, hit a poor putt. But what a golf shot he hit in there.
Oh, my goodness.
You couldn't hit it any better than that in there.
And, he's chasing it. He could have played fat part of the green. He could have played it short right, hopefully catching the ridge, hopefully getting it on top, where Jordan had come up woefully short the hole before in the playoff. But, hats off to him. He just went pin seeking. He just said, I'm going to put an end to this right now. And Johnson Wagner had a 3-foot putt for par to, again, continue the playoff. And he just, he put a bad stroke.
Well,
there was no doubt about it.
It hopped on him, too. You could see it in the replay. It had a couple little hops. But, it's unfortunate. But I tell you what, it just – The quality of golf we saw from them yesterday afternoon was fun to watch.
The only thing I kind of makes me sad about the whole deal is JB's in. He was in at Augusta. He already had his invitation. Jordan, of course, is at Augusta. He already had his invitation. If Johnson Wagner would have won, he'd got an invite to Augusta.
Well,
and that would have been player number 100.
Yeah. Well, at least, he doesn't have to change his son's birthday party.
Yeah, that's true.
Today, to Augusta, because he's going home, and going to take care of that. So.
But do you think he would have minded?
Oh, no. The wife wouldn't have minded, and the son sure wouldn't have. But, look at it this way. The young man's got himself probably into Hilton Head now, I would think would be the next one, since he top 10 this week.
Sure.
And with the money he made, he's probably got a shot at keeping his card now, getting in some more tournaments. So,
I think really for him, the sponsor exemptions, getting some more tournaments, I think this did more for that than anything.
Oh, absolutely, no question,
no doubt about it. And
no
then
question.
If he'd been able to pull it off, then he would have reaped the rewards. So again, JB Holmes ends up pulling this out at 16 under par. Tied second, of course, was Johnson Wagner, Jordan Spieth. Russell Henley finishes in 4th place at 14 under par. Brandon DeYoung finishes at 13 under. We saw some of the marquee names, Hugh, that were kind of being their names shined upon in the early days of this event, just simply because, they're getting ready for Augusta. Let's see how they're playing. Mm-hmm. And did we see anything that kind of changes our mind about a particular player for Augusta?
No.
Phil?
He played better. I'll give him that. He did play better. He hit a couple of really wild tee shots, which he's known for. He seemed to be putting better. So, we'll have to see how he does when he gets there. Other than that, really no. I think the other guys, the 3 guys that were in the playoff, they kind of stole the show with the way they performed and bringing this thing home.
We saw several players on Sunday, Hugh, that really got into the charge of this thing. You're looking at 5 players that ended up tied for 5th. At actually, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah.
Look at Russell Henley. He almost holed it on 18 yesterday. He hit it a foot.
Yeah,
that
true.
Young man. I liked how who was it? Was sitting up there with Miller yesterday. Said, "Yeah, he looks like Jeff Spicoli." From Fast Times at Ridgemont High with his hair and whatnot. But the kid played great.
Well, you got Keegan Bradley. He finishes at 13 under. He shot 69 on Sunday. You got Cameron Tringali, who was making a move. Mm-hmm. He finishes at 13 under. Charles Howell III, CH3, He finishes 13 under.
Yeah, and and really hit a poor shot into 18, and it was right in his wheelhouse. So,
but again, Mr. ATM, Charles Howell, I mean, shoots 66, 70, 69, 70. Paul Casey has another good event. Good to see Paul continuing his comeback. Scott Piercy has a good event, finishes at 11 under. Charlie Hoffman, Pat Perez, Kyle Reefers, Chad Collins, Alex Cheka. Again, Alex Cheka. The resurgence, Alex Cheka. Did he find the fountain of youth, dude?
I don't know, but I tell you what, after Puerto Rico, he's a different person.
And what about one young Mr. Austin Cook, who ends up making it in Monday qualifiers and gets into the field, and Austin finishes tied 11. I was really hoping he'd get a 10th or higher.
Yeah, I was hoping he'd finish top 10. Shooting 3 over yesterday, you could tell the heat got to him a little bit as far as the pressure goes. But, young man played fantastic golf.
This is his second PGA Tour event, and he ends up finishing T11. So congratulations to him, dude. I mean, he's gonna win a nice little check.
Yep.
And I think there'll be some more sponsor exemptions for him.
I think he'll have it. Definitely, folks.
He got quite a lot of airtime.
Yes, he did.
He got a lot of airtime.
Had his little brother caddying for him, so that was pretty cool.
Victor Dubuisson played pretty well. Ended up with a 66 on Sunday, which in the rain was a really good score. There were a couple of 67s. Pat Perez shot 67. Charlie Hoffman shot 67. So there was some good scoring early by these guys who were getting out there. And then, but really, if you look at the last groups, Hugh, the rain stopped.
Yeah.
It just kind of it stayed overcast, and it stayed somewhat a little cooler, but the rain stopped.
And it looked pleasant. It didn't look like it was uncomfortable at all.
Not at all.
And, it just led to a great finish of a golf tournament, no question about it.
I was disappointed, Hugh, and Patrick Reed finished with a 73. I really thought, he started off 68, 71, 67, and if Patrick was getting ready for Augusta, if he was really focused on that, he would have been able to probably pop in that 66, 67 on the last day to get in. But he shoots 73. I don't know, that kind of. He's one of my quote unquote pre-tournament, pre-master favorites. That stocks went down a little bit.
Yeah.
So would you agree there?
I agree with you.
You look at some of the other players, and again, we mentioned one, Phil Mickelson. He finishes with a 71. This after a 75 on Saturday. And he really got everybody charged up, Hugh, when he opens 66, 67. And for Phil, that's great. He hasn't played that well since the British.
Yeah, I agree.
And
Shot some good scores and hit a lot of quality golf shots.
Quality shots.
I mean, he chips in the first hole he plays for a birdie and goes out and shoots 66, and then
putter looked smooth.
Yep.
He was creative with the 64 degree. He just looked like he was in a comfort zone. And when he gets around these golf courses with no real rough per se, again, I bring back up your comment earlier about J.B. Holmes. There was like some kind of comment about him finishing last in the driving accuracy. At Houston Golf Club, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's 150 acres of fairway. So there was really no rough per se.
There wasn't.
Because they set it up like Augusta.
It was light rough.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely.
So, it kind of doesn't matter. I don't care if he hit 3 fairways or 4 fairways. He can do the same thing at Augusta. He's just got to get the putting down.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it 100 times. You and I have talked about it 1,000 times. Putting is everything at Augusta.
Well, if you can't make putts there, you can't putt, period, because it's putting on a pool table and it's a pure surface.
Mr. Watson made the comment this morning in an interview that I heard, Hugh, that the course has become too long for him. He can't play that golf course anymore. But if they just allowed the older guys to just go out and step on the front of each green, he said we would wear those kids out.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, it was funny. I was going to mention it before we, tied things up, George. Watching the drive, chip, and putt yesterday at Augusta with the kids, one of the greatest exhibitions of just I can't commend Augusta National, the PGA of America, and the USGA for what they've done to get these kids involved and to get them at Augusta National. That was just so much fun to watch. Those kids make a putt, and they're jumping up and down and pumping.
Oh, and the fist pumps.
Oh, the little girl, Effie that, makes the one. And it was pretty amazing. And that's what Ben Crenshaw said yesterday in his interview when they interviewed him. He said, I've been coming here for 43 years, and golf course is just too long for me. It's just time. He goes, it's going to be hard to do, and I don't want to do it, but it's time.
Right.
And that's just the way golf has gone nowadays.
And it was good to see the Adam Scotts, the Bubba Watsons, some of the Mark Immelman, Trevor Immelman, Charlie Reimer was there from Golf Channel. It was good to see these guys out there with these kids interacting, the other players that were also there that was maybe over on the practice range, but they were making a point in time to go over there and interact with the kids.
And they were watching the
high
kids.
five them and watching them.
And
They were getting
Condoleezza Rice
involved.
being right there on 18
Well,
green.
she's a member. She's
I
required
understand
to do
that, but I mean, for her to be there and, those kids and, to watch, the politeness and the respect that these young people had by taking their hats off to shake people's hands. And, that's just nice to see nowadays. It really, really is. And I couldn't have been more proud for the kids, and I don't know any of them, but I mean, just to watch that and the excitement, the parents just knowing, having kids of my own and how proud they are. Folks, if you haven't seen it, you need to go back and watch it because I tell you, it is pretty cool.
Well, that's 80 young adults that had the moments of their lives so far.
No question about it. And it's what's helping grow the game.
And I hope they have other moments in their lives that at least get to that point compared to that.
Yes.
But, for some of them, it may never happen. For others, they may have many more to come.
But at least they got this one.
I got this one. Hey, D, if I got just a moment, I'll give some stats on the Masters. Speaking of the Masters, 2015. It is the 79th playing of the Masters. There will be 99 players from 25 different countries. There are 45 Americans in the field, 6 Australians/South Africans, 5 Englishmen, 5 Koreans. There are 37 European Tour members that are playing, and those 37 European Tour members have 382 wins amongst them. So on average, roughly a little bit over 10 wins per European Tour representative. There are 18 players this year new to the Masters and 5 European Tour rookies, Brooks Koepka, Lahiri, Lowry, Weisberger, and Danny Willett are rookies to Augusta. So it'll be interesting to see how they play, and they're just going to have the time of their life.
I hope so. 19
former winners of Augusta with 29 jackets are playing in this year's event. Tiger Woods with 4, Phil Mickelson with 3, Crenshaw, Langer, Olazabal, Watson, and Tom Watson, all with 2. So Bubba and Tom.
Yep.
50 of the top 50 official world ranking players are playing, so we get all 50. This is not one they're going to miss, right?
Oh, yeah.
32 major champions are winning. They represent 72 major championship titles. How about that?
That's impressive.
32 major championship winners representing 72 titles. 43 Ryder Cup players with 156 appearances in the Ryder Cup.
Wow.
How's that for a stat?
Wow, yes.
This is the 10th Augusta appearance, the 10th, for Justin Rose and Henrik Stenson.
Really?
Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Write this down, D. I taught him something. There are 10 players over the age of 50 this year. 10 players over the age of 50. Examples, Watson at 65, Ian Woosman at 57, Sandy Lyle at 57, Bernhard Langer at 57, Vijay Singh at 52, and Jimenez at 51.
I tell you, Jimenez I wouldn't count him out. Guys got some game.
I was really hoping I could pull for Cabrera.
Yeah.
But I've watched him play for the last several weeks via the internet because he's not been getting much coverage. And I don't know. I don't know if he's tired. I don't know if he's got an injury in his shoulders, but he just doesn't seem to be striking with as much energy and enthusiasm as he was just last year this time.
Yeah.
And so I've had to pull back a little bit in my him being my dark horse because I like to include him as a dark horse.
Oh, I agree. Because I mean, there's nothing better than him playing well because that just gets everybody interested in what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a little tidbits of numbers there shared for you for, of course, the Masters coming up this week. It is Masters week. The Godfather himself is headed over there Wednesday. I'll be there all weekend. I'll be making call-ins to our live broadcast happening right here at TGD TV and TGD Radio. So be sure to keep an eye on that. And, of course, TGD Radio and TV are produced and broadcast by the Zeus Radio Network for thegolfdirector.com. When visiting the Golf Director, be sure to check out our featured course pages where you'll find up-to-date information about course conditions, specials, and much more. Need help with your next golf vacation? Just call Dave. Give us a call, 844-GO-GOLF-1. That's 844-6531. All of our TGD programming is archived for listening and viewing on demand. To catch up on any show you may have missed, click on the TGD Radio or the TGD TV tabs in the menu screen at thegolfdirector.com. We're now available on over 1 billion devices at iTunes, Audio Realm, TuneIn, YouTube, Ustream, Roku, Blueberry, and, of course, the Myrtle Beach Golf app. For Hugh Roy III, I'm George Honeycutt. Thanks so much for joining us, and we thank Big D behind the glass. We're going to bring him a present from Augusta. We want you to continue to tune in with us. There's more golf news and information coming up next. Professor Weldon.